So this is Macathu with Feed Your Nerd, and I'm here with
Steve Anderson, Third Eye Comics.
And this is the third Awesome Con, and you guys have been supporting this cause, and really, we see Third Eye all over the place.
Yeah.
How much influence do you guys have on it? Do they ask you about anything, or is it you guys are just here to help out?
Well, a little bit of background on it. So basically, Ben and I, we started the conventions back in 2011. We did the Annapolis Comic Con together, a very small show, and we couldn't understand why Chicago had a convention and New York had a convention and San Diego had a convention, but DC didn't have a convention. So we said, you know what, we're going to make a convention, and we did the first DC Comic Con, Awesome Con, in 2012. And it was awesome. We had great attendance. Everybody was, all about it. But the thing that really made us want to do more was that everybody was just like, dude, we've been waiting for this. People were really embracing it. And so we did a bigger event the following year. And that was, I guess, last year's 2014. And it was crazy how quickly we grew. And, by that point, I realized that, in the beginning, I was super involved with helping out and all that kind of stuff. But as we got closer on, I realized that, this is, 90% Ben and then 10% me, and Ben, he does a lot of hard work for it, and he makes all this happen, and I'm just kind of the loudmouth who's basically there to be like, you need to go to Awesome Con, you need to go to Awesome Con, and we're kind of also the home base for it too, year round, so that way the people who go to Awesome Con still have something to root down to, it's kind of like, we're the CBGBs to Awesome Cons, Madison Square Garden,
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
Cool. Does he ask you any input for guys you think people would appreciate to have here for guests?
Yeah, I mean, especially in regards to comic books, because as a comic book store owner and retailer, I'm really up to date on this guy's new, he's hot, he's doing really well, or this is a really good dude to bring out. We do a lot of signings at our store, so we have a lot of relationships with people. So there's a lot of times where we're like, hey, you should really come to Awesome Con, email Ben, and so yeah, that we definitely do a lot of stuff like that. Yeah.
Are you surprised how quickly it's grown?
Yeah, no, I mean, I am and I'm not. I mean, I know that I'm a hard worker, and I know Ben's a hard worker, and I know that this area has a ton of people that are super passionate. I mean, I've been saying for years that the DMV is probably the most passionate area in the country for comic books and fandom and all those sort of things. I mean, our store is one of the biggest in the country for a reason. It's because the fans in this area are so engaged and so just passionate about what they like. So I'm not surprised in that regard. I'm surprised with how, smoothly the growth has been done, usually when you grow this quick, there's a lot more issues, and that can all be kind of credited to Ben for doing such a great job running the show.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a little more just comic-related questions.
Yeah, sure. No, I'm happy to answer them.
There's been a huge boom with the comic book movies and everything like that.
Right.
Have you noticed more of an interest just in the people featured on screen, or comics in general?
No, it spreads out. I mean, it spreads out. So really, the comic book boom in general, and I think about this stuff a lot, the movies will drive traffic in, and it will get people into it, but it's the quality of the stories that are keeping people around. So I'll have a lot of people who will come in the shop and be like, oh, I want to read about the Avengers, and they'll pick up Hawkeye by Matt Fraction, or they'll pick up, A-Force, or, Secret Wars, and then they'll also start kind of following the store and being like, oh, what's this? Or we'll get to know their taste, and we'll be like, oh, if you like Hawkeye by Matt Fraction, you're going to like Sex Criminals by Matt Fraction. And then they'll start reading something else, and then pretty soon it's about comics and not just about the characters.
Right.
But the movies definitely draw people in, and then the quality of content is what keeps them.
Right now, what would be on your top 3 must-read list?
Oh man, that's a hard question. So for mainstream stuff, I'd say Secret Wars is probably the book to read. That is the home run comic right now for both the big two. I mean, in terms of a big, bold superhero story that's going to just grab you and not let go, Secret Wars is definitely that kind of story. My second favorite would have to be Saga. Saga is my favorite comic right now, bar none, and it's been my favorite comic for the last 4 years. It's incredible. And then my third favorite, this is kind of a personal one. It's not the bestseller, but it's something I've always loved, is a little indie comic called Stray Bullets. And the Image Stray Bullets series that's coming out is very, very, very good. And it's just great, hard-hitting crime drama,
Cool. As far as people you'd like to get here, as far as artists or just people that have contributed to the comic book industry in general, who would you like to see in the future Awesome Cons?
Oh, man.
Well, everyone says Stan Lee, so besides Stan Lee, who else?
This is weird because we get a lot of like celebrities and we get a lot of people from outside of comics and stuff. So, I mean, obviously there's a ton of talented comic people I'd love to see. I'd love to see Todd McFarlane. I'd love to see a lot of the old school Image guys, Rob Liefeld, guys like that. However, my number one guest that I'm always bugging Ben about is Gwar. I really want Gwar to come to Awesome Con. Like, I think it would just be amazing to see them walking around the con floor. So,
Otis, wherever you are.
Yeah, we'll take the rest of them, But I mean, if that ever happens, you'll know whose fault that is. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this is Feed Your Nerd. We're with Third Eye Comics. Make sure you check them out. Here with Steve. And anything else you want to say before we quit?
If you haven't been to our store before, definitely come visit us. I can promise you we will give you the best comic book store experience in the world.
You heard it here first. Comics, Third Eye, Awesome Con. Feed Your Nerd.
Oh, and one more thing. Buy Third Eye or die. Go.
You heard